Coordinator of the McKinney Clemente Presidential Campaign, our own Fred Vitale.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Well, what a wonderful evening that we have planned for you tonight. And it's so nice to see a whole room full of people for the Cynthia McKinny Rosa Clemente ticket and all the Green Party candidates. I wanted to just take a couple minutes as a Green Party state chairperson to welcome you all here, tell you a little bit about the Green Party. Even though my hair is white and some of the hair of some of the other members is white, the Green Party is actually a new party. A new party. And as a new party, we are just starting out. We are just starting out trying to build a progressive alternative in American politics. It's been done a few times before, but it's been a long time. So we're asking you, whatever other work that you do, whatever community work that you do, neighborhood work or anything, please consider working with the Green Party, running as a Green Party candidate, supporting our candidates, because this is a progressive, new alternative, and I think that we can see the world is changing. The world is changing. This last 18 months, this unprecedented election campaign, where Barack Obama, as an African American, is now the Democratic nominee, where we've had an unprecedented housing crisis. We have an economic crisis in Michigan that's not ending. We've got wars in 2 countries, and we have a growing resistance represented by you. This growing resistance, we've seen it at the Democratic National Convention, where Cynthia McKinny had a chance to speak at rallies by 2 sets of organizations, Recreate 68 and the Alliance for Real Democracy. We see there's going to be demonstrations next week at the Republican National Convention. We've seen resistance in Detroit. We put the furniture back in the house of a person who was foreclosed, and later on won that case with a big bank. What was that? What bank was that? Bank of America, yes. We pushed back on Bank of America. So this is where the Green Party is. It's that kind of party. It's the party that's going to support that stuff in the streets and in the election booth with candidates. Candidates, yes, we have a whole room full of candidates, and we're going to hear from some of them, and then we're going to introduce all of the candidates that are running in Michigan. And lastly, we're going to have you have a whole room full of wonderful people to talk to and mingle with, and we're going to let everybody do that when the program's over.
All right. All right.
All right, first up we have Harley Mickelson, who's running for the Senate. Come on up, Mr. Mickelson. All right.
I hope I don't mess this up. I'm not really used to speaking in front of a microphone here. Can y'all hear me? Okay, Fred has asked me to talk about the war and the Pentagon budget. Is there anybody here that thinks the Pentagon budget is too low? Raise your hand, come on.
The Democrats.
Is there any Democrats in here? Okay,
Thank goodness.
so I guess we've covered that. We do not need the high Pentagon budget. It is it's over $500 billion. I'm not going to bore you with statistics. And the things we could do with 1/10 of that money would be amazing. We could provide health care for everybody in the state of Michigan. Yeah. I mean, I would rather have health care than tanks and weapons of mass destruction. We are the most warmongering country in the world. We spend more on defense than anybody, and it's time we stopped. We need to get rid of our nuclear weapons. Yeah. How can we expect Iran to disarm if we have more weapons than anybody else in the world? The Democrats did not keep their promise in 2006. They were elected to end that war, They have not done so. They have not even really tried to do so. If you continue to vote Democratic, you will get more of the same. You'll get more wars and less help right here in Michigan. Right now, they're preparing for a disaster in New Orleans again. Really, I'm running against Carl Levin. Since Carl Levin has been senator in Michigan, Detroit has experienced the same kind of disaster that New Orleans has. I mean, it is a crime what's happened to Detroit. Carl Levin has done the bidding of the auto industry. He has kept fuel economy standards low, created this energy crisis, which has involved us in the war in Iraq. It needs to stop now. I hope you'll vote for me, and I want to thank my wife. I told her to stand up when I used up my 3 minutes, so I guess I'm done now. Thank you all for being here.
Excellent. I am very honored to be where I am at this point in time, to be able to choose from 2 candidates that are my choices instead of somebody else's choices for me. I don't know about you all, but that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Next up, I would like to announce Clyde Shabazz. He's running for the Congress in the 13th District. Mr. Shabazz.
How you doing, Greens? Good evening. How's everybody doing? Good. All right. Well, I guess you're wondering here, what is Clyde Shabazz doing here tonight with the Green Party at this time, at this place right now, right? First of all, I want to thank this beautiful, intelligent lady for hosting us tonight and making everything flow. Let's give her a hand. I want to thank Fred. I think you're doing a great job with the party. Sir, I'd like for everybody, could you stand up and give this man a hand? I don't think everybody really appreciates how hard this gentleman works. Stand up, please. Thank you, Fred. Okay? Great job. All right? And then I want to I'm going to have everybody again stand up and clap for a nice, really blessing, what I consider, for her being here with us tonight. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. But before I get to that, I want to kind of segue into what I'm quite sure she'll speak about tonight. And that's the situation that we're all in as, I don't even want to say as Americans, but as human beings, okay? I think a lot of Barack Obama's success is because of his idealism and the other dynamic things that he brings to the table. But I think more than that, people, and you don't see it just here in America, but even around the world, you watch it with the Olympics, through the advent of technology, things like the internet, I think human beings are finding themselves, regardless of to where you come from in life, you're finding that we're all some kind of way interconnected. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, knowing that, things from the climate, you know, the environment, you know, you name it, the water, everything, here's a chance that I think a moment in time, if we do this right, and what we're doing here is important, to kind of really move the planet toward more of a humanism. Would you all agree with that? Yeah. All right, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing in my little space here, because, you know, I'm not really expecting to beat John Conyers in this race. I know that a lot of minds and things are in place and the like. However, oh, I'm going to go for it, believe me. Yeah. But at the same time, what I want to do, I want to highlight what the time is at hand. You can't have these folks telling us in '06 here in Detroit and across the country, if you folks just come out and vote Democrat, you know, we're going to have this big change. This young man who's running for the Senate hit on that earlier, okay? So what we all have to do, whether you're running for an office or you're just talking to your neighbor on the block, we all have a duty to go out and speak to people and say, hey, we need to start making change in our lives block by block, one human being at a time, okay? And I mean, everybody can do this. That's why I believe the appeal of what's going on with the Democrats and what they're trying to do. But beyond that, I want to speak to these folks and say, hey, you speak about how much money you've brought back for Michigan, but what have you done for Detroit? We have so many things that we know that could be done here. I won't even go into them, okay? One of the big things for me, and I wanted to send a big shout out, was the thing about the judiciary hearings, right? If we got in there, we were going to have these hearings, and as soon as they counted the last vote, they cut it off the table, okay? So when I watched that, and I watched this man Conyers, and he knows me in the community and the whole bit, you know, and it's just like, you know, what is it? And he'll give you a smile and a hug and a hey brother and all that too, but you know, that doesn't get it anymore. Times are too tight, people's lives are being affected. So what I'm going to do in this campaign, and I'm going to make sure they all know, from not just the congressional races, but from what's going on at City Hall, the City Council, the Mayor's Office, the school board, all these issues that we're going to have to really, really work on, those of us who live in Michigan and here in Detroit to fight on, but really even nationally and internationally to the issues that I'm quite sure you'll address. But I'm just happy to be here with you all. I'm excited, I'm upbeat, because this is a time of change, but we know we need some real concrete change, not some cosmetic change. So I want you all to be encouraged, excited, listen to all the great speakers tonight, and you know, enjoy yourselves here. Thank you for your time, okay?
That was wonderful. Thank you, Clyde Shabazz. Okay, next up we have Derek Grigsby. He's running in the 7th District. Derek Grigsby?
Yes, right here.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. I hope I don't butcher this. Okay, well, I'm here to speak on an issue I'm sure you're all familiar with. In case you haven't noticed, our country is facing a foreclosure crisis of epic, evolutionary, or revolutionary proportions. I say revolutionary because this crisis has the potential to awaken the masses to their oppression and oppressors on a scale like never before. Because owning a home in America has always been sacrosanct. It's been holy to us. Unfortunately, in the midst of this crisis, there are not many of us seizing the opportunity presented. Make no mistake, you believers in Obama. He will be no less oppressive than his Republican counterpart, no matter how eloquent he speaks. The best person to lead our country is right here, right now, and she's Cynthia McKinny. Yeah. Let's give her a hand. Now, Michigan, our home, is one of the states that is leading the nation in foreclosures. According to Realty Track, a company that makes money from this kind of misery, 200,000 to 300,000 homes in Michigan are in or have been foreclosed on, with much more to come. With adjustable rates or adjustable rate mortgages set to reset again, thousands of more victims of capitalism will be faced with losing what they thought would be theirs for life. Well, here in Michigan, as well as around the country, some of us are fighting back. Yes. We refuse to accept the life our rulers wish to impose on us. We believe that housing is a right, a human right, that all should be entitled to. How can we call ourselves civilized and not believe this? So, a group of activists here in Detroit and around the state got together and formed the Moratorium Now Coalition.
And one immediate goal of the coalition is to get a moratorium on foreclosures bill passed that will put a halt to the evictions being carried out right now.
It's so nice to be here. You know, this is the very first time that anybody has asked me to speak since I got hit by an 18-wheeler. Talk about is education, and I'm running for the Wayne State University Board of Governors, and so I know a lot about education. I spent a lot of time at Wayne State. There's a movement of millions of exploited and oppressed people of all colors to defend the education that we have and to improve it. That's one of the reasons that a sector of the ruling class has picked Barack Obama. That's also one of the reasons that the Republicans picked Sarah Palin, because they want to buy us off. If you're black or you're a woman, you've been at the heart of every movement of change in America.
That's right. Yeah.
What we're going to do, the Cynthia McKinny Rosa Clemente campaign, we're going to build the movement that already exists. We're going to get the people at the bottom to stand up and be proud of themselves, but they're already doing it. Now, one of the interesting things is this is the reason why they picked Barack Obama. But let's look at Barack Obama's politics. I looked up what he says about education. And he says, now is the time to finally meet our moral obligation to provide every child a world-class education, because it will take nothing less to compete in the global economy. I'm asking myself, I want an education to teach a child to compete? No, right. I want an education to teach a child to cooperate, especially cooperate with our neighbors in Iraq. I have a really good friend from Iraq. I met her at Wayne State University. Her name is Sasha, and she turned into a lawyer. And she taught me a lot. What Cynthia McKinny wants to do is she wants to bring all the troops home, and she wants to spend the money here on the people. One of the things that I'm going to do if I get elected to Wayne State University Board of Governors, and I have to tell you this is the third time I've run, and people remember me, and I get enough votes to keep the Green Party on the ballot. I'm going to push for lots more educational institutions. That's one of the things that I want to do with the money that we save by stopping blowing up our neighbors in Iraq. And I'm going to push for lots of educational institutions that have dancing, music, and art classes of all kinds. Thank you very much. I send you lots of kisses and lots of love.
Here. I don't think I need to explain it to you, but when I'm out on the street, I'm faced with hecklers, and they have these misconceptions, and that's what I'm going to be fighting against this November. And some of these hecklers shout things out to me like, you know what, you should impeach Kwame. Now, since there's no time to shout back, let me tell you what I'd like to tell them. First, you don't impeach a mayor. You impeach a president.
Yes.
And second, if you could impeach a mayor, this is what it would look like. Let's be clear about this. Kwame has been charged with a crime. The president has not. Impeachment does not mean that you are automatically thrown out of office. It means that you are charged, and that charge is adjudicated. Kwame has been charged, and the wheels of justice are grinding noisily along. The president has not been charged, and the wheels of justice are strangely silent. Another type of heckler I've encountered shouts out, "You should impeach Granholm." Now, while it's true that you can impeach a governor, Granholm has not committed a crime.
Not yet. Not yet.
Well, we may have policy disputes, but she's not committed a crime. The president has. Impeachment is not a backdoor maneuver to remove an unpopular executive. It is a legal response to a legal problem. Now, perhaps this misconception stems from our treatment of Bill Clinton. While we may be able to debate whether or not marital infidelity is an impeachable offense, we have all agreed that lying to the American people is wholly unacceptable. Our president must be held to a higher standard. As Richard Nixon so aptly put it, America needs to know that her president is not a crook. Of course, he followed that statement up by lying, but... Which brings me to my final point. Some of my detractors will wave their hand and say, "Bah! There's no time. What would it prove anyway?" With only one session remaining in Congress, it is almost true. There almost is no time. But what would be the point? Think of it. If the House of Representatives voted to send the articles of impeachment on to the Senate, both senators currently running for president would have to look at the evidence, which ostensibly they have not yet seen, and state publicly and for the record that it is not fitting for a president to lie to his people. It is not fitting for the president to tap phones. It is not fitting for the president to use the Justice Department to dispatch political opponents.
Right, that's right.
Our Constitution is what holds this nation together. The country was founded on the principle that we are all equal under the law. Me, you, George Bush, Jennifer Granholm, Dick Cheney, Kwame Kilpatrick, we are all equal. Ultimately, this is why impeachment is not only important, at this point it is imperative. The law is why we fought the American Revolution. We have, for generations, sent Americans to die for this principle. In their memory, we must hold accountable those sworn to uphold this principle. And that is why I'm running.
Thank you so much. Again, my name is Matthew Abel, and I am the Green Party candidate for Wayne County Prosecuting Attorney. And I'd appreciate all of your support. Some of my friends, when they've learned I'm running for prosecutor as a Green, wonder, well, what the heck would a Green prosecutor look like? And I say, like this? Look just like this. And what would a prosecutor do? Well, for one thing, we would prosecute environmental pollution, especially corporate pollution. There were millions of gallons of sewage pumped into the rivers in Wayne County last year. Literally millions of gallons. That needs to stop. And the cities, the municipalities, the corporations, everybody needs to be held accountable. We need to trace that back and clean this up. We need a healthier environment. That's one of the ways to do it. We need to prosecute mortgage fraud. There's a lot of, much of this foreclosure problem is caused by mortgage companies, and some of that is really over the edge, going into the criminal area. Things that do go into the criminal area should be prosecuted. Now, if I were to take over as the Wayne County prosecutor, there is a pending prosecution of the mayor of Detroit. I would expect that would continue. And that goes to clean government, to rooting out corruption, and that's another one of the reasons I'm running. There is no prosecution of police misconduct in this county to speak of. And we really need a public corruption unit that's effective, that will work for the people, that will protect the people from bad law enforcement officers, and they're out there. There is a culture currently in the prosecutor's office of not prosecuting, not cleaning that up, but covering that up. And that's a culture that needs to change. Now, some of you also may know, I work currently as a criminal defense lawyer in the area of marijuana defense. I have a website, Cannabis Council. I am the Cannabis Council.
All right.
I am the attorney for the Michigan group of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. I've specialized in this for a long time. Now, as prosecutor, there is a lot of discretion, and a prosecutor's office under my auspices would not prosecute, or certainly would divert, victimless crimes and crimes of morality that are still on the books that really have not kept up with our current moral climate. Things need to change. The other thing is that we would allow medical marijuana patients, as you all know, and I hope you're all going to vote in November, and as you know, in Michigan, Proposal 1 is a medical marijuana statewide ballot proposal. Vote yes on 1. After this passes, and I'm certain that it will, the prosecutor's offices in the various counties will have a lot to say about proper enforcement of the law, properly educating law enforcement officers, not to arrest the people and let them settle it out in court, but to leave them alone in the first place. That's what needs to happen. People need to know that sick patients don't need to be locked up in jail. We need a lot of alternative sentencing. There are many things that a prosecutor can do. I am uniquely qualified for this position. I've lived in this area since 1980. I have an associate degree in criminal justice, a bachelor's degree in philosophy, a master's degree in public administration. I've been a practicing lawyer for 22 years. And I can do this job, and I will do the job well and in honor of the green philosophy and the 4 pillars. Thank you all very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you again, Matt Abel. All right, right now we have audio of Reverend Pinckney from Hiawatha Prison. And Reverend Pinckney is running for Congress. Yes, Reverend Pinckney, and he's in prison in Hiawatha, but he's running for Congress nonetheless. So here we go. We're going to go ahead with that.
Well, it's definitely in world interest society to speak, because that way they won't have anybody else to fight against them. So what they want to do, they want to make sure that they have a clean cell in there. They don't have anybody to resist. So that's why it was so important for Whirlpool to come in and make sure that they disarmed me. And they did it by saying that, you know, that I committed voter fraud. Matter of fact, they was the person who actually engineered this whole thing. They went through the prosecutor and Glenn Yarborough. So they made sure that it happened. The way it was processed was that they had a meeting, and Glenn Yarborough and the prosecutor decided they was going to find a way to overthrow the election. And that was pretty interesting, because that's what we wanted to do. We want to make sure that we got rid of Glenn Yarborough. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way. They got rid of him. But I'm still here fighting. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we stand up and fight against Whirlpool. Whirlpool is the real answer here. Because they want all the lakefront land, all that we have, they want it right now. So basically, that's what happens.
Okay, everyone else. All right, can we get the first person up who's running? All right, let's give him a big hand.
Hi, I'm George Corsetti, and I'm running in the 13th Congressional District against Kilpatrick.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lou Novak. I'm running for Wayne County Commissioner, District 6.
My name is Diane Feely, and I'm running for Wayne County Commissioner, District 5.
My name's Douglas Campbell, and I'm running for the U.S. Congress in District 9, Oakland County, against Dr. Jack Kevorkian and a Republican and a Democrat whose names I forget.
My name is Richard Kushmar, and I'm running for District 25th State Representative in Macomb County. If I get elected, I'll probably be the first real progressive from Macomb County since the Great Depression. Thank you.
My name is Fred Vitale, and I'm running for State Representative in Detroit's 3rd District.
Anyway, I'm running against Sandra Levin in the 12th District U.S. Congress, and I feel that I should be able to speak tonight too, but I defer, no, the chairman doesn't want me to.